I say chase your dreams, man. Do that thing, man, that keeps you up at night. That thing that bothers you, man, that makes you trip. You can't quit thinking about it. That thing, man, that you wake up in the middle of the night, you got a new idea. That's what you got to chase. Because anything else, it's going to disappoint you. You're going to forever be sad, man. If you don't chase that dream, you're going to forever be miserable, man. I would hate to die and never do the thing I was born to do.
We all look for toughness. We all want it. But we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. I was trying to look for it everywhere. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim and you're drowning. You're drowning in life. And you say, you know what, man? Fuck that.
You want to exercise your freedom on the world, but you don't want to exercise it on yourself. Oh, you'll shut the world down for telling you what you can't do, but you won't say nothing to you when you don't do what you're supposed to do. You're not getting up when you're supposed to get up. You procrastinate, but you let you slide. You want to hold them accountable? Hold yourself accountable too.
You need to get rid of them excuses, and you need to stop pointing fingers at people, and you need to start pointing fingers at yourself. What did you not do?
You are not where you want to be, not because you need any more gifts. You need to discipline yourself. You need to learn to tell you no, tell you stop, tell you quit. You got to get to a point where you're disciplined.
You have to be willing to grit it out. You have to be willing to push through discomfort. Nothing that you're about to try or do that is worthwhile is going to be comfortable for you during the process of creating it. Stop with this hope, stop with this I wish, and start replacing those terms with I will fucking do, no matter what.
It's a lifestyle. Instead of hitting that fucking snooze button in the fucking morning and not making your bed and not cleaning your house, you don't hit the snooze button. You get up. You don't want to go run, you go run. You don't want to go swim, you go swim. You don't want to make your bed, you make your bed. You don't want to clean your house, you clean your house. You don't want to study, you fucking study. That's how you start to callous your mind. It's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. Do something that sucks every single day of your life. That's how you grow.
And the reason why we fast from time to time is not that we have to fast, but at some point you got to fast because you got to tell the flesh who's in control. I'm in control. You're not in control. I know you don't want to wake up. You don't have an option. Get up. We trying to eat. There's a certain lifestyle we want.
No more playing after today. I need you to take control over every single area. And we're going to do it one day at a time. And you're going to get control. And then someday gonna be your day. Start to take the pressure that you feel from what it is you want to do and turn that into productive action. Let it be the thing that makes you get where you want to go when everybody else is just taking it easy.
I am not my issue. See, you've been going through what you've been going through so long, you think the issue is you. But you can stop it with a thought. I mean right now, the darkness that has overwhelmed you, you can stop it with a thought.
We've all had times where something didn't work out. We didn't get the promotion, the loan didn't go through, a relationship didn't make it. We did our best, we prayed, we believed, but the door didn't open. But God wouldn't have allowed the door to close if it was going to keep you from your destiny. We may not see how it could work out, but God hasn't run out of options. He's not at a loss at how to turn your situation around.
A couple of things kept me going. Most of it was messages that I had learned from my mother, but I learned something about faith. Faith comes from hearing, not from having heard. My mother was telling me those messages years ago, but during my homeless years, I would rehear them, and that's when it mattered. And I had such a grand dream and vision. I was willing to push through to see what the vision was going to be.
I know, like, most of the time you hear me preach, it's like, yo, don't make decisions by your feelings. Don't live by emotion. Live by devotion. I believe all of that, but I want to be really careful that we understand feelings matter. I don't think God created you with all those emotions if none of those emotions matter. I don't want to be led by my emotions, but I want to pay attention to my emotions. You see, I'm telling you right now, what happens is this, is that emotions turn an interaction into a connection.
It's going to be a message that I believe that will resonate with you as it did with me. And And it's something that I want you to think about your goals and dreams. Think about the things that you've said that you want to do with your life. And I think that this conversation that I'm going to have with you now will help you to begin to move with a sense of urgency, become more purposeful in how you approach your life.
Faith is the title deed. It's the confirmation. It's the proof that I have what God says I can have, and it doesn't matter if I don't see it, if I can't feel it, I've got it. And really the truth is this right here is our title deed to every promise of God. It is written. Faith is a creative force.
Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, the bridge between inspiration and value achievement, the bridge between necessity and productivity. Remember, all good things are upstream. The passing of time takes us adrifting, and drifting only brings us the negative, the disastrous, the disappointment, and the failure. Failure is not a cataclysmic event. It is not generally the result of one major incident, but rather a long list of accumulated little failings.
For several years, I gave myself a way out.
When you were 300 pounds?
When I was 300 pounds, when I was, all the way up until I was 24 years old. I would climb a mountain, I'd fall back down. I start climbing, I fall back down. For the first 24 years of my life. I went to my first Hell Week, my second Hell Week, and then my third Hell Week came in SEAL training, and the CEO, Captain Bowen, looked at me. I'm on crutches, I'm all jacked up. He says, hey, this is your last time you're gonna go through buds. This is it.
The other thing that affects your decisions would be what I would call your story or your blueprint. We all have kind of a story about how our life is supposed to be. It comes from a set of life experiences, interpretations. Some people think life is all about getting theirs. Some people think life is about growing and contributing. Some people think life is about making judgments. Some people think life is about saving other people's lives. Some people think life is about being successful. Some people think God is the basis of everything.
I came here to remind you that when people laugh at your visions and ideas, it's only because they don't have their own visions and ideas around what they're supposed to do with their life or their careers. People that don't have any dreams for themselves, they tend to be dream killers. People that don't have their own visions, they become vision killers. They want nothing more than to talk you out of your own visions.
First of all, before the war, the military sent me to college. So I had to go to college. And as I said before, I was super focused when I went to college. I've been in the SEAL teams for 10 years. I was a go-getter. I was a hard charger. I was like, oh, you want me to read this book? Boom. I would sit down and just force myself to read it. And then got back to the SEAL teams. And like when I went to college, I literally read every single thing that I was assigned.
I didn't grow up with the sense that where we were was where we were going to be. You know, we grew up with the sense that where we were almost didn't matter because we were becoming right. Something greater.
I don't want to be an icon. I want to be an idea. You know, I want to represent an idea. I want to represent possibilities. I want to represent magic, right?
There's no difference between determining the hierarchy of your rights and determining how to live together successfully. It is exactly the same problem. One's only articulated in a legal form. And the problem of how we should live together in the most productive possible manner, everything considered, is as old as mankind itself. In fact, I would say far older than that, because the same problem bedevils social animals way. down the phylogenetic chain.
I know you feel isolated. I know you feel fatigue mentally because of all the uncertainty and how long this pandemic's going on and how it's impacting your life. I know you feel a lot of stress because of what a polarized political environment we're all living in around the world right now. And so we wanted to give you something bite-sized that would lift you up so that you could do the hardest part in changing one area of your life, which is getting started and knowing the right place to start.
When I think about the Lord, how He saved me, how He healed me, how He rescued me, you can stop it with a thought. You can stop it with a thought. The gates of hell will not prevail. One thought about God. My thoughts are not your thoughts. I can stop it with a thought. I found out thoughts are optional. I might have a thought, but I don't have to let the thought have me.
God opens doors that no man can shut, and He shuts doors that no man can open. Here's the key. God is your doorkeeper. People can't keep you from your purpose. Obstacles can't stop what God has ordained for you. You may feel like you're behind a closed door in your health. You can't seem to get well. Stay encouraged. Those closed doors are not permanent.
I kept hearing my mother say words like, God didn't bring you this far to leave you. So I said, okay, well, maybe He ain't left me. Let me just see if I can wake up tomorrow, something will change. You know, then I kept hearing stuff like faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. Or say, okay, cool. So I don't see nothing but this homelessness right now, but I think I'm gonna make it one day. And I just kept going, man. I just kept.
It's our emotions that separate us. It's our feelings that make us unique and make us human beings. And friends, to live in harmony means we laugh together. To live in harmony means, guess what? We cry together. To live in harmony means we celebrate together. Living in harmony means we grieve together. I have sympathy for my brother and sister.
How you use your time, because of the fact that time is the lifeblood of life, and what you do with the time that you have left on the planet. Dealing with the coronavirus has done something for me. It helped me to begin. To face the reality, even more so that I have an expiration date, and not in a morbid sense.
Faith, words are powerful. It actually goes out into the spirit realm when you pray and you say and you add that obedient action. And they go out into the spirit realm and they start releasing the power of God, and things begin to happen. Let's just take for a minute my life, or you can take any one of your lives. I didn't really ever understand what I had, but I look back now and I know that God was with me.
If your goal requires that you write 10 letters today and you write only 3, you are down 7 letters. If you want to make 5 calls and you only make 1, you are down 4 on calls. If your plan calls for saving $10 today and you saved none, you're down $10 today. Now the danger is looking at an undisciplined day and concluding that no great harm has been done. It doesn't seem like such a bad day.
Every morning I would wake up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, go to my dive cage, go in there before anybody saw me, I get duct tape, and I would tape from my forefoot all the way up to the mid of my calf, and I would put 2 black socks on. And so I ran not using the pivot, and I ran my hip flexors. So for the first 45 minutes to an hour, I was in absolute excruciating pain. But what motivated me was the fact that I'm in the hardest training in the world.
Whatever your story is, whatever your blueprint is just another way of saying whatever you believe is how your life is supposed to be, at some level, we either follow that blueprint or we fight it. If we follow it or we fight it, we're going to find that we're going to bump into things in life where life isn't always the same as we expect it to be or think it should be. And that's where we start to experience stress. So in this session of Breakthrough, when you watched this story and you saw Melissa, you saw the conflict between what she desired most and what she feared most.
I've always had this idea that one day I'm going to meet a multi-billionaire. We're going to become the best of friends. And he's going to say to me, Tyrese, I got all the money in the world, but I don't have your visions or your ideas. And I'll say to him, I got you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to waste your time. I got big visions and ideas. I can't afford them all, but it's not going to stop me from having these visions and ideas.
I read every single page of every single thing I was assigned during college. That's ridiculous. It's almost a waste of time. It's almost embarrassing. Echo definitely thinks it's a waste of time. But it was because I just could lock my brain down and get it done.
Yeah.
So then get back to the teams, and in the teams, officer in the teams, you have a lot of administrative paperwork to do, evaluations and after actions reports and all these things. And I would do the same thing. I just go into lockdown mode and put my brain on it, and boom, I'd go through it.
2 + 2 only equals 4 if you accept that 2 + 2 equals 4. 2 + 2 is going to be what I want it to be, you know? And like there's a redemptive power that making a choice has, you know, rather than feeling like you're at effect to all the things that are happening. Make a choice. Like you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it.
Rights conflict with one another, and when things conflict, they have to be hierarchically organized. And what that means is that there's an implication that there is a hierarchy of rights as well as a hierarchy of responsibilities, and that it's also incumbent on us to determine the nature of that hierarchy and to determine what constitutes the sovereign, let's say, the sovereign right. And I would say you might think of that as a modern conundrum.
The number one thing that makes a positive difference in your life, particularly in times of stress. Number one thing, everybody. And it's also, ironically, the one thing we do the least. And that is being kind to yourself. From exercising, to practicing gratitude, to changing your diet and eating healthy, to hanging out with people that empower you, to getting outside, like everything you could imagine.
Thoughts are optional. Can I tell you how I know? If you did everything you thought, you'd have a prison ministry. From the inside of the prison. Tim is so unsanctified. He'd be in prison if he did everything he thought about since I've been preaching. It's kind of like a split screen to me. Okay? It's like probably what the other people thought when the woman was coming up and what she thought. I almost called the message, hold that thought.
The enemy doesn't control your doors. People don't control your doors. Fear, addiction, depression don't control your doors. The Most High God is your doorkeeper. He controls what opens and what closes. Now, I believe you're about to see some doors that have been closed for a long time suddenly open. You can't explain it. You didn't see it coming, but suddenly your health improves.
Don't get me wrong, there was days I wanted to quit, a lot of days. I almost drove back to Cleveland several times and just gave up. But if you that's why you have to have big dreams. Because your dreams have to be bigger than all your fears and all your consequences. What makes people go back is you dream too small. See, your problem in life ain't if you aim too high and you miss it. Your problem in life is if you aim too low and you hit it.
I wonder today if people's eyes are drawn to us for all the wrong reason. Focus on me. Listen to what I have to say. I don't want to walk in harmony You want to know what living in harmony looks like? He's like, it looks like being sympathetic. You got to be sympathetic with one another. That's what living in harmony is. Sympathetic with one another. Sympathetic, really that's a key word, because I know this is the year that we talk about empathy, and empathy is vital and powerful. But how many know in order to get to empathy, you got to first go through sympathy?